Hey there, it's John Michailidis with Prosperity Group of KW Island Life Real Estate. Wanted to tell you about a transaction that I recently put together that did not go through, and a comment from one of my colleagues regarding that. So there's a listing that I have, $809,000 listing. It came to pass that there was a buyer that for certain reasons wasn't able to qualify for a mortgage. Not really credit issues. The details don't matter. Point is, they had a lot of money. And I negotiated a contract with them to take this $809,000 listing, to have them purchase it for $865,000, to put $265,000 cash down up front, to amortize the loan over 30 years, which would be roughly $4,200 a month payments at 7.5% interest, which is 2.5 points above T-bill rate and slightly below the current rate to get a conventional mortgage. So there's a little incentive there still, even though the price made up for that on our end. And then we balloon it in 5 years, which means you take the payments and treat it as if it's a 30-year loan, but the loan gets called due in 5 years, in which case $570,000 off the top of my head would come back. So it was going to be about $1.1 million coming to the seller over 5 years. $265 down payment, $4,200 a month for 60 months, $570 back, add it all up, just about $1.1 million for an $809,000 listing over 5 years. It's the kind of deal that I would take all day long, every day. Keep bringing them to me, and I'll keep doing that deal as a seller all day long. So my colleague, when they found out that even after all of the work of putting that deal together and getting the buyer to agree with it, and the seller had been on board the whole time, but then they had a change of heart and they decided they didn't want to do seller financing. Talked to their family, they're somewhat elderly, and just thought, no, we want our money now, not later. And my colleague was aghast. They're turning down $300,000 extra dollars in just 5 years, and it's almost risk-free, right? Of course, the buyer could stop making the monthly payments, in which case the mortgage that would be received by the seller from the buyer would be secured by the property, so the seller would have the right to foreclose, take the property back, and do it all again. So it is a secured loan, but nevertheless, they didn't want to do it. And again, my colleague was aghast. How could they just give up $300,000 over just 5 years? And I said, look, he thought they were foolish not to take it. And I said, no, they're not foolish. Maybe you would be foolish not to take it. Maybe I would be foolish not to take it. But to them, it wasn't the right deal. And you know what? That's okay. My job is to counsel, to negotiate, to give the best advice I can, and to put things together as best I can to safeguard my client's interests. But in the end, they're the ones selling a house. They're the ones buying a house. They're the ones committing property, their money, their name, etc., signed on the dotted line, so to speak. So it's their decision. So I do not in any way, shape, or form believe they made a bad decision. I would have made a different decision, but I'm not them and they're not me, and that's okay. And that's one of the things that a fiduciary-minded, a counselor-minded, as opposed to a salesman-minded real estate professional always puts the client's interests first. So, moral of the story, I can put together the sophisticated deals. It's not an issue. I can negotiate them and I can get them to the contract point, but it's always the client's decision as to whether to proceed or not. That's the way myself and my team operate. Clients first. So hope that helped you understand a little bit about owner financing and a little bit about the different mindsets of different people and different strokes for different folks. John Michailidis, Prosperity Group of KW Island Life Real Estate. If you need anything with respect to real estate services, especially skilled at properties in probate, expired listings, divorce situations, owner financing, the more sophisticated, tougher transactions, we shine. Of course, the easy ones are slam dunks. 941-777-2422, 941-777-2422. Take care. God bless.